we gonna get into this thing. So let me go ahead and get Denzel then through here, man. Come talk to the people, man. Let's get it.
Is the sheep preaching hate when he says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore? If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf the violent one? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. You know, somebody's knocking you over the head, stop them. Do whatever you have to do to stop them. You know, the ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back, so they said, no, he's teaching hate, he's violent.
All right. So, you know, my biggest thing is that we have a ton of different things that we have to address and acknowledge within the community, within the world, what we see, what we hear, what's being done. Uh, I know that we sit by and we watch it, but we need to start being doers of a lot of these things and addressing the issues as they arise, not allowing them to just dictate what we get to and determine what we get to view, what we get to know, what we get to hear, what we get to see. Hopefully, you guys doing all right out there. Hopefully, it's been good. Hopefully, you guys have been prosperous and blessed, and you're feeling good. But we're gonna jump into this thing. First video is gonna be coming from real life street stars. All right, and let's just hear the take. This take I found very interesting as far as the politics, not only politically, but also just in the communities as a whole, and how we decide to address and treat one another. You know what I mean? You're talking about Sonya Massey, this Charleston White X, and why nothing happened over Sonya Massey. Nothing at all. Now, here, let me just quickly address that before we get into it, right? Literally, there has been nothing, right? It's been crickets. We've all seen the video. We've heard what happened. We've heard, of course, her say what she said. She, rebuked the officer in the name of Jesus, and got shot, got murdered for carrying a pot of water, a boiling water, right? And my thing is this, right? There has not been an outrage. There has not been a riot. There hasn't been I haven't seen out there as NAACP coming out rioting or doing anything of that nature, right? I'm not seeing anything. I'm not hearing about anything. But when George Floyd passed away, and they all determined that the police officer had his knee on his neck and he couldn't breathe, right? And in the result of the police officer suffocating him or strangling him to death with the knee, there was mass riots all over the place, all over the country, and all of these riots took place in the black communities, right? Communities that's predominantly black and Latino, right? But mostly black. Destroying and looting and burning down, businesses and homes, and this was all done systematically. I can't even sit here and go into anything other than letting you know the truth up front, y'all. It was systematically, and with the whole Sonya Massey situation, it pronunciates it even more. Because those businesses burned down because they wanted to collect the insurance policy. Okay, the business that stayed open and had to defend themselves from being looted and being burned down were the local business owners who were actually at their place of business with shotguns or whatever they needed to protect and defend their business. The bigger companies, the bigger businesses who may have not been making as much money in those locations, in those areas, had hired people to burn down those locations. Why? Just to collect the funds, just to collect the funds from the insurance. We all know if you see a location that's not doing well, you see Kmart. Kmart is all but gone. They don't even exist anymore. They closed them things down. The best thing you can do if you are a franchise owner, business owner, is to lose your business due to wildfires or due to riots or anything that you have that's outlined in your insurance contract as things that they cover. That way you could either sell, get out the business, but you would make some money maybe to help you pay off debts, things like that. Now, am I saying that these riots were incited by business owners who are multi-million-dollar corporations or large business owners, not small business owners, but large business owners, large corporation owners? Was it incited by that? It could have played a part. That's what I'll say. It could have played a part in it. Because, George Floyd, his history and his reputation is not the cleanest, right? Not to say that, he deserved what happened to him, which, tell you the truth, the autopsy report, and they did a second one, and it actually revealed that he had taken opioids or something like that in an abundant amount, and that's what had him in the position that he was in at that time. He overdosed, y'all. He didn't suffocate from a needle on the neck, but the officers who were involved did take the fall for it because people were outraged and they needed somebody to take the blame, right? One of the officers, which, listen, I'm not trying to defend anybody's position, but he got stabbed by some Hispanic guy in jail. The one who had his knee on George Floyd's back. Now, should they have gotten him help a lot sooner and tried to treat him or take care of him because they probably knew that he had consumed an abundant amount of drugs? I would agree with that. Yeah, they probably should have been trying to get medics as soon as possible to help him out, but also trying to be sure that he was breathing appropriately and not like in a position where he was. But, of course, he wasn't compliant. He was very, aggressive and not really trying to, go with the flow of things. He was fighting them back. So I guess they were trying to do what they thought they needed to do to subdue him. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into this thing. It was designed, and I'm gonna show you the reason why I feel that way after we check out what they're saying over here. A real star, or real life street star. So let's check them out real quick.
Why ain't nobody been hurt behind that? Why we ain't got no tip like the 9/11 tip that'll drive a car into that police officer mama house and boom.
Real life. It ain't real life. Just a real life street star. You know what time it is.
Baby boomers, they don't know how much trouble they might be in right now.
You see, there's this wild real estate trick where
Derek Chauvin, I just noticed that it was on the news that he got stabbed in jail by a Mexican. A lot of other snitches or people like that, when they go to jail, it's always a Mexican that do it. It's never a black man. Like, why is it that we don't stand on like that type of shit? Like,
We can't fathom hurting a white man. When we lay down and close our eyes, when we lay down and close our eyes, we cannot see ourselves causing hurt to a white or a Mexican. We can't see it, homie. For whatever reason, we are psychologically programmed to be afraid of hurting a white person and a Mexican. You never hear about Mexicans and blacks having a ride nowhere. You always hear about black on black rides. You never hear about, man, 2 young black boys have attacked a white man. You never heard that. We've been programmed for whatever reason by way of rap music. But if they had rap music to show us how to get white people, we would. Because as a kid, I was showed that.
Right, NWA and
Yeah, as a kid, so that's why all my crime was against white people, because I'm coming from the era. So I'm born in 77. I'm coming right after the 60s. Still mad at the man. Even on the good times and on George Jefferson, the was at odds at the man. The man. So when we come out the house, the man. It ain't the nigga.
right.
Throw rocks at the police car. The man. Go steal something from the man. So, homie, the music and the culture came along and propagated a mindset to hurt your own, shoot holes in your own boat. Yeah. So it's the culture. So until we attack and demolish and shame the culture, we supposed to be shamed for hurting niggas. Right. And we praise it. So until they don't know how to hurt white people no more. Not that we advocate it, but an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. So with that being said, the black lady Shonda Macy. Yeah. Why ain't nobody been hurt behind that?
I'm Javi, and I got Botox Cosmetic. There was a particular photograph. The lines were...
Why we ain't got no terrorists like the 9/11 terrorists that'll drive a car into that police officer mama house and boom, you know what I'm saying? Why we ain't got nobody like that? Everybody else do. The Mexican cartel got somebody that'll come crash out, homie. Even white people, they got some white boys that they can program to come kill 10 black people in the church. They got some crash dummies, homie. Why our crash dummies crash out on us? Why we don't have no crash dummies that'll crash out for the race? Why? Because we can't imagine it. But we'll crash out on each other. I don't give a damn about going to jail. Okay, if you don't give a damn, let's hunt George Zimmerman down. If you don't...
Yeah, you know, one thing's for sure, he ain't lying, y'all. You already know that the truth is what the truth is. During his era, like he was saying, during his era, yeah, it was all about the man and going up against the man, whatever the system, intergovernmental system, things like that, but standing together in unity as black and brown people, melanated people, things like that, against the man, right? This thing, like I said, is all systematic. This is being systematically done, right? Because when you have music that was being pushed back then as to where, you know, fight the power that be, things like that came out, that was bangers, that was hits, that was talking about positivity, talking about uplifting the community, talking about unity and being together, sticking together. When you have off the hymns of people like Huey P. Newton, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and many others, you know, Marcus Garvey, many others who stood for rights of black and brown people, melanated people, and you don't have our women perverting themselves, sexually perverting themselves, and, you know, taking themselves and falling into promiscuity and falling into a trap of the Jezebel spirit, right? And all these other cultures of communities of people look to the black women, look to the black man. They look to us to lead the charge on a lot of these things. On a lot of these things, you can be honest, right? You can witness it and see culturally how, you know, black and brown people or black people have influenced the nation culturally. You got more white rappers coming out sounding blacker than most of you guys from Memphis, you know, making bangers, and they looking like family, you know, Peter from Family Guy, making bangers, making hits, making drill music. You know what I'm saying? Like they look to us to lead the charge on things. You can look at the feminist agenda, right? And how it started off white and ended up now mostly black women are pushing a feminist movement, right? It was influenced by white women. It started with white women. You understand what I'm saying? Not to say that I'm demonizing anybody or making them an enemy, because they not. But I'm just trying to say that, you know, when something is created, when something is developed, Black Lives Matter, 3 lesbian black women, funded by white Jewish men. White Jewish men funded BLM. And now it's a whole movement, right? Where was BLM when it came to Sonia Massey? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are they showing up just when they're provoked to? I believe that it's all systematically done. And I, you know, of course, you know, proving it is pretty simple, right? It's pretty easy to prove. Not only has been reports of during the George Floyd riots, people being paid to protest or to riot. People were being paid to be there. And what did you do? You saw the people who were rioting or protesting on that day, and you joined them thinking they were out there for a worthy cause. And that's what you did. You joined them freely, right? They didn't have to pay you to join them. They just needed to put a few people out there and get you to show up as well, right? For free. And you pay people to build. You can pay people to riot. You can pay people to protest out of people's business. You can pay people to actors, right, to go and do things like this. They can be paid. They can be bought. So if I were someone who wanted to destroy a community, because maybe they're starting to prosper a little too much, or if I wanted to set them back, or if I wanted to create propaganda in the community of people, or put people against each other, what would I do? How would I do it? First of all, I will form an organization who can do it quietly, right? The CIA, and I'll call it the CIA, right? Because they're going to be able to get the right people to blend in where necessary. And then not only that, they're licensed to do it. You know what I'm saying? So all you got to do is show them a badge and you good. Or they look you up, they know who you are, you undercover. And infiltrate different societies and cause conflict. This is how you are able to bring down a full country. Infiltration. You infiltrate it first and you start conflict within that country in order to bring it down. You understand? If you go watch the movie Don't Look Up, one of the scientists literally shouted on the screen that there was a meteor coming and they all gonna die in like 7 months. All of them people treated her like she wasn't shit, and they continued on with their life. This is the same thing you witnessing right now. It's a dog and pony show. So this is the reason why, you know, our community has been systematically divided from talking about unity in the music to then talking about killing each other and how we're the enemy to each other in the music. How our women are bitches and hoes. How our men are you know, bitch ass niggas and the ops. And this is all just black men. It ain't showing you no images of white men as being the ops. So let's go, man. Let's get back to this thing. You know what I mean? Because I think my point's been proven. This is all systematic. This is all designed for you to destroy yourselves. And this is why I say the Jim Crow era has been repackaged, rehashed, and served up to you in a form that makes you feel good about it, that makes it cool, that makes it dope, that makes that shit like put it in the music, like you sing into it. You sing into Jim Crow whenever you listen to NLE Chopper or anybody else who's talking about killing your black ass.
Oh, why, homie? Why ain't nobody done nothing in the name of police shooters? No, nothing. Why we ain't tearing up the country for a woman who was killed for calling on the Lord? She was murdered for calling on the Lord, and he said, I felt like she would go kill me when she said, rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Where are all these black churches that'll go find out where his mama live, his kids live, the police chief live, and be out there waiting to do something. Where they at? Where they at, my nigga? But we so gangster with each other. So that's why I say, fuck this culture. Don't nothing bother me about what happened to black people. Don't nothing bother me what happened to black people. They can kill an innocent old 90-year-old black woman tomorrow. I wouldn't give a damn. They could murder a 6-month-old baby in the name of a mistaken identity. They could have been looking for a 24-year-old man and came in and shot a baby. It wouldn't bother me, homie, because I know nobody's going to die for what they do to us. Nobody's going to be hurt for what they done to us. If a Mexican do something to us, we going to let the Mexican make it, homie. Matter of fact, if we in jail and the Mexicans want to do something to me, they'll give me to the Mexicans, homie, just to keep peace with the Mexicans. Call it politicking. So nah, homie, yeah, they miss me with all that.
Man, and it's so fucked up because I watched the documentaries. If a white man causes conflict between a black in prison, and they say we want that white man, they say no, you can't have him. But if a black man causes conflict between the whites will say we want him. They'll either give him up or punish them themselves.
Punish him themselves like they'll beat him like the white man beat him. And they won't say, we ain't doing nothing. I don't kind of go to war with y'all. Don't let it be the Mexicans. They'll damn near let the Mexicans stab the nigga. They'll find a reason to let the Mexicans stab that nigga, and then they'll punish them. You know why? Because they still want to get the dope for the Mexican. See, everybody got the hand over us, homie, because we like to get high. All the prison on K2 getting high. All the prison getting high. Nigga, ain't nobody lifting weights no more. Ain't nobody looking at these getting high off K2. And who they getting it from? The Mexicans and the white boys getting it in. So we back slaves again, my nigga. We just don't know it. Because this slavery feels good. This slavery feels good, my.
We had a young man by the name of Vernon who we interviewed. He was raped in prison, and then when he wouldn't retaliate against the man that raped him, the crew that he was with stabbed him.
And they him some more. Oh. He ain't just take that time. He'll line up if he just had that pushed in him one time and he didn't even fight back in the cell. What happened was he and there wanting to feel good. We gonna go back. I heard the story. He and there getting drunk in his cell, sitting on his bunk. Sit down right here, man. Let's get drunk together. He already know when you put your ass on that seat, it's on. He just sitting right there getting drunk with you. He's priming up. We're taking that drink. You know he good and drunk. He stand up to go pee, and he run behind him and push that in him. Man, please. If you don't fight back, that feel good. Man, that had to feel good. What you mean you don't want to, and you on the maximum yard, and you don't want to get back? We gonna stab you in from now on because this the precedent you done set. You can't do the man now, my he probably like down. Cause listen, you see this man again. You think he ain't winking at you? He done pushed that off and he know how you feel. And on some more. It was that easy to get. And he said how everybody found out. He didn't tell nobody he got raped. They already know he was getting raped. When he come out of there walking funny. Yeah, he come out of there bow-legged. He had straight leg breeches. Now he come out of there bow-legged. Man, here, man, you stabbed him. And Joe Warwithal is not to go get that nigga. Homie, everybody else finna try you now. So, homie, me up. But I'm glad he told the story to let these know that's what go on in prison.
Hey.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I mean, one thing's for sure, right, is that when you are dealing with these folks, right, in these jails and these prisons, man, he ain't lying. Like, some of these guys, man, they be on some of the weirdest shit, man. Listen, I remember one time I had, this is up in Detroit, Wayne County Jail in Detroit. Went up in there. They brought me in, whatever. Put me in after, because this is during COVID. So I had to go sit up in this solitary confinement for about a week or something like that, 7 days. And I'll tell you, when they don't give a fuck, they don't give a shit about you up in there. Let me just say that. They could care less. They don't care if you about ready to die. You understand? Because 2 people died. 2 in the same place. Right there on that same level. They could care less. They don't give a shit. They don't care if the person's sick. They don't care about none of that. Right? It's a filthy jail. Worst time to be locked up is around that time. However, they got me over the general population. Went in there. I'm hearing stories before I even got there. I'm hearing stories about guys who's jumping on people, right? Jumping them, sending them to the hospital, things like that. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. It sounds like a Detroit jail. Whatever. It is what it is. Detroit is like Gotham City. You understand? Downtown Detroit is like Gotham City. You know, and shout out Detroit. You know what I mean? Some really good people, dope people that live there. Don't think that, you know, everybody's bad. Not everybody's bad, but just, you know, the people who choose to be. Here we go. Right? But it's actually a really beautiful city, beautiful place, things like that, you know, to be during the daytime, nighttime. Nightlife is like, you know, very artsy, very poetic type of, you know, music type of city. So I don't want to make it seem like Detroit is a rugged, rough, whatever. I know I used the reference of Gotham City, but in that world of crime, I would say it's like a Gotham City, okay? When you're in that jail, it's like Gotham City. You understand what I'm saying? Almost. But they took me and put me in general population, and when I go into general population, I'm seeing like blood on the windows, right? So as soon as you walk in, there's blood on the windows. I mean, nobody's cleaning this shit. You understand what I'm saying? But there's blood on the windows. You see, you know, of course, a group of men is all in one small, like, rectangular tube or cube, right? You know, small. Not even, you know, some people's bedrooms are bigger than this room that I was in with these guys. And then, of course, you got, like, you know, about 20 cells, right, side by side. And this is with the jail and prison politics, things like that, and the reason why you gotta really, truly stand on business. I'm going up in there. There's this young guy who, you know, of course, a lot younger than me. I think he was, like, 19, 20 or something, just, you know, first time there or whatever. Well, you know, he was being disrespectful to me, right? He was doing some things that was extremely disrespectful. And me personally, I don't have the room to tolerate that. You know what I mean? Like, and this young man, of course, I'm pretty sure this young man would go. I'm pretty sure that he not no weak looking young dude. Okay, so don't think I'm picking on somebody who weak. No, it ain't nothing like that. He obviously is very capable. You know what I'm saying? Of violence. So yeah, he's being disrespectful, right? So I let him know, I check him, let him know, hey, yeah, that ain't gonna be none of this. Go over to one of the guys who he had some respect for or whatever that he was hanging out with, older guy, right? And I go talk to him, and then this older guy that I'm talking to, he was supposed to be like the boss of the pod that was in there. I guess he was like a pod boss or something like that. That's how they was treating him, okay? I don't acknowledge what they do in there. But that's how they was treating him and another Hispanic guy that was in there as well. Little short, chubby guy. So I let him know. I let this guy know who they treating like the pot. I say, hey, man, make sure you keep this guy away from me, and we ain't going to have no problems. But let him know, bro, just to keep his distance. Don't play around with me. Don't play games. Okay, so one of these days, right, I'm sitting there. I'm playing chess. I'm just kicking it. I'm just chilling, just trying to pass time until I get released. But I'm just passing time, kicking it, chilling, playing chess, and I overhear the same guy that I just spoke to about the young man. He goes into the Hispanic guy's cell, and I'm kind of just ear hustling. You know what I mean? I'm listening in on what's being said, and he's telling the Hispanic guy something about the young guy. And I can't quite hear everything, but I'm hearing what was necessary. He basically telling them that something was going to happen and that they were going to be doing something and that it was about the young guy, right? and that they wanted the Hispanic dude to join them in helping them with doing whatever they felt they was gonna do. And the Hispanic dude said, "Yeah, man, that's a little bro. I got you. Yeah, I'm with you. It's all good." So instantly, my instincts can kick in, and I'm like, "Okay, I just talked to him about this young dude. He probably in there talking about me. He probably in there trying to tell him something about me and this guy and how I'm having issues with them, because I guess they considered him a part of their little clique or whatever. So they like, yeah, I got you. So they come out. The other guy comes out the cell and he kind of cuts his eyes over to me, and I'm like, okay, yep, that's what it was, right? And I continue on with my day as usual. Continue play chess or whatever. And then next thing you know, I guess they've been making some jail wine, or whatever they call it, spud juice or whatever they call it. So he busts this out, and this is like a ritual for them two. The black guy who's supposed to be the pod boss, he's like this. He's a bit shorter than me. He's light skinned with some locks. Shorter, sort of got a little bit of muscle on him. He's kind of a little bit stocky, not really, but a little bit. You can tell he's working out. And then you got the other Hispanic guy who's a shorter, chubby guy, bald head with a beard. All right, so their thing was to drink this prison wine, and then they would start going off on everybody in the actual cell. So they'll start going off on everybody, like coming at everybody, doing whatever, just to I guess provoke people, right? Or to try to show that they are the boss, that they the ones. You feel me? And so I'm seeing this, and I'm like, okay, well, cool. So here they go. They're doing a little ritual. They drinking and things like that, and they go around. They start punking everybody, slapping them on the head, things like that. And I'm just kind of watching them as they doing it. I'm standing up, just leaning over, playing chess. I'm still playing chess at this point. And then they start coming around me, right? And they start making all this noise, start picking on a couple people, slapping them upside the head, telling them to do something about it, just punking them. You feel me? Like really intimidating people. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just sitting there just playing, right? Like nothing's happening. Like I'm just completely ignoring them. And they're loud, boisterous, just basically trying to be all in my space and be loud and be boisterous and make themselves out to be something. Right? So I'm just chilling. I'm cool. I'm just, I'm not flinching, not winking. I'm not even looking in a direction in amazement. I don't give a damn what they doing. I'm playing chess. So eventually, they settled down a little bit. They start chilling out. And, the black guy, I guess he had some pool in the jail or something, but one of the guards came and got him and took him to a different cell so he can holler at a different cell, right? A different cellmate. And the Hispanic dude sat down to play some cards, play some spades, but he asked me, he said, "Hey, you want to get down on the spade table?" And I looked at him, I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll get down with you. So they went there. So he went there. He started playing spades with some other guys first. I finished up some chess games or whatever. And then finally I walked over to the Hispanic dude and I'm like, "What's up? Y'all ready to play or what?" And he's like, yeah, I'm ready. So I sat down and I started playing with them. Start playing spades. Now this Hispanic dude, he was punking everybody at the table. You know what I mean? Before I even got sat down at the table, he was punking them, like saying certain shit that they wasn't saying, punking the shit out of them, right? And they wasn't doing a goddamn thing. Right? So I sit down, right? I sit down to play cards or whatever. And at some point, the Hispanic dude was getting riled up and getting all this, doing all that, slamming the table, doing, just being really aggressive for nothing, right? And I forget exactly what happened during this time, but one of the cards came out and he said that I reneged on something. And I told him, no, it was this type of card. Like no, it was a 4 of heart. He was like, no, it was a 5 of diamond. And I was like, no, it was a 4 of heart. He's like, no, and he started getting real aggressive, right? Speaking aggressively. No, it was a 4. It was a 5 of diamond. I started speaking all aggressive and shit. And I'm like, I looked at him dead in his eyes, and I leaned right into his face, and I said, nah, bro, it was a 4 of diamond. And I looked dead in his eyes, and he shut the hell up, and he started looking down at the table, and And you know, he started looking down at the table, man. He just closed his mouth, started looking down at the table or whatever. And then I heard him under his breath. He's like, "No, he ain't nothing. He ain't nothing." You know what I mean? He's saying this under his breath, like he ain't nothing. He ain't nothing. He ain't nobody. Like just trying to give himself like a pep talk, right? And so we finished the card game, and I meet him in his room, like, "Yo, so what's going on?" Like, you know, just kind of talking to him. And this guy was like, "Oh no, nothing." And he seemed real flinchy. Now this is the same, like, you know, Hispanic guy who, you know, punking everybody, slapping them in the head, all this other shit. You know what I mean? With the other black dude or whatever, they punking everybody. He's supposed to be one of the pie bosses or whatever. Big dog. You know, his cellmate that was in there, he took him in a room at one point while I was in there, and he was beating the shit out of him, right? Just beating his ass in their cell. I don't know what the fuck they was doing. It seemed like they might have been on some gay shit. I ain't gonna lie. It just seemed like the cellie was a little more feminine. He would be telling them what to do. It was almost like he was his bitch. All right, just straight up. He'll tell him what not to do, what to do, and if he didn't listen, he'll take him in there and he'll beat the shit out of him. Right? He a peon. Just a little peon dude, man. He so happened to have a cell with this guy. And I'm in there, I'm talking to him. He seemed real jittery, real nervous. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to understand why he's so nervous. And I realized, like, okay, so they were thinking about doing something to me. They were thinking about jumping me. Like, they were thinking about ganging up on me, jumping me, whatever. But they noticed that I was not intimidated by the antics, about how loud they were getting, how boisterous they thought they were. Me personally, I'm pretty decently trained. I'm pretty well trained. I can handle myself. I'll do just fine. And I know for a fact that we gonna take this bitch all the way down. You understand? We gonna tee this bitch up. It ain't gonna be none of that. You know what I mean? But I'm also gonna match your energy. I'm gonna move like water, right? And so, you know, if you feel like you want to crash out, I'm gonna crash out. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like you want to become a cup, we're gonna be a cup. You know what I'm saying? Like really on some Bruce Lee type. Like, you put it in a pot, it becomes the pot, and that's just kind of what it is. But water can flow and water can crash. So if you want to crash out, we can crash out. So that's pretty much what it was. But the black guy came back with the locks. He came back into the unit, and then he asked around. He was like, "So what happened? Did it go down?" He was like, "What happened?" They were like, "No, ain't nothing happened. Ain't nobody do nothing." And he, you know, and he was like, "Oh man," like basically saying like they were scared or something like that. But bro, you took off, man. You wasn't nowhere to be found. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you took off. And then that's when I really realized that they were actually talking about me, and was like, "Look, we gonna handle him. Like, we gonna roll on his ass and get his ass up out of here," or whatever they felt like they was finna do, or send me to the spittle is what they was saying. Like, we sending niggas to the spittle, the hospital. And they just noticed that all of that shit, all that dog and pony show, all of that smoke and mirrors, all of that was not intimidating me a bit. I wasn't moving, wasn't flinching, wasn't even reacting to what they were doing, because it wasn't something that I didn't give a shit about. You feel me? Like, if we gotta crash out, we crashing out. But I ain't finna let you just do whatever. Yeah. And, you know, the young guy at some point, you know, this is the last little part of it, but the young guy at some point, I was on the phone with my mother, and she can testify to this. Like, you know, you ask her, she was on the phone and she heard what was happening. But the young guy at some point, I was on the phone with my mother, and the young guy was standing directly behind me. This is the same guy. I was like, "Hey man, stay away from me, keep your distance, don't even talk to me." He's standing right behind me while I'm on the phone. And then I noticed it, and I looked, and I'm like, "Man, what the?" And I thought to myself, okay. And so I turned around, and I looked at him like, "Bro, why the fuck you behind me, bro? Get the hell away from me. What's your problem, bro?" And you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, he's like, oh, my bad, my fault. And the Hispanic dude's like, "Hey man, get that man some space, man. Come sit down, man. What the hell you doing?" You know what I'm saying? Type shit. And, you know, I just jumped back on the phone, but I checked his ass real hard, right? jump back on the phone with my mother, like, yeah, so and she's like, what? I gotta hurry up and get you the hell up out of there. And she was just like, you know, but she was on the phone, but I had to handle that shit because it wasn't nothing that I could really do. It wasn't like I was gonna be like letting that shit slide. No. I had to handle that shit right then and there because obviously he was kind of testing his boundaries a little bit, trying to see what he can get away with. Like, bro, nah. By the time I left up out of there, it took me like 30 days or whatever because they was holding me, but none of them spoke to me. Nobody was like, hey man, yeah, man, peace, whatever. It's almost though you can tell that they were like, had a problem, but they never addressed it with me. You feel me? Like, or they wanted to jump me so bad, but they was too afraid to actually follow through with it. And it's only just the strength of the Father. It's only the strength of the Most High that'll move with you in those moments. And then where you literally become like David in the den of lions, in the lion's den, and the lions don't want to do shit, ain't got the motivation to do nothing. That's only the Most High that can be able to do that. So I mean, if you struggling with faith, if you struggling with finding something to get behind, or somebody to get behind, a father or something like that, or spiritual guidance, to make you stand on something with principles, then yeah, you need to consider other things, because things that come from the book, things that are teaching, principles that are taught, really do come in handy when you're stuck in situations where you gotta defend yourself, you gotta get yourself up out of it. And then the courage and the strength comes from your belief, because the Yah that I serve, he don't accept cowards. You understand what I'm saying? Cowards don't have a place in the kingdom. So let's just keep that real, right? But that's it. I digress. Let's get back to it. We're almost done with this thing anyway, man. We're gonna get it. We're almost done with this joint.
YouTube Premium is ad-free YouTube and ad-free videos on the YouTube Kids app, so kids can bounce the Kids Bop without missing a beat.
That's what go on in prison, especially if you are trying to get high and feel good. That's how they used to get pills that make them lock up. Psych pills. Lock up and he just push you on over. You can't you locked up on them psych pills. So they got all kind of games in there. Oh shit. Real life.
Yeah, so man, Charleston White, man, he be speaking some truth. Some things I don't agree with, but a lot of things that he say I do. You know what I mean? And like I said, you don't gotta agree with everything. You understand what I'm saying? It's still gonna be some truth that come out, and in the community as a whole, in its entirety, right? Once we are able to really identify a lot of the things that we struggle with, right? Which we've been identifying it, we've been seeing it, you know what I mean? But we too busy distracted by the sexy reds, by the Sikianas, by the Ice Spices, and and the NLE choppers, you know what I mean, and the Nas X's, you know what I mean? People who are systematically helping destroy our community, not contributing anything positive to us as a whole or as a peoples, right? But everything negative, right? It is what it is. And we got to be cognitive as to what's going on, what's really happening. That's why I say what I say when Sonya Massey is literally shot in the face for saying, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And literally there's no uproar, there's no outrage, there's no, you know what I mean? Like nothing. There's nothing, literally, right? Just talk about it for a few days and then let it die out. Why does that happen? Why does that happen as opposed to others who, where there is riots, there's marches, there's all kind of different things going on. has the black people or melanated people been desensitized to violence, police violence towards them, to where they don't want to defend themselves or others within their community? What's really going on? Because like you said, you got the Hispanics who got the cartel, you got the Caucasians or the whites who got, you know, what do they call it? Ku Klux Klan, the KKK, right? And other organizations, the good old boys, other organizations that will back them. Shit, even the police, you know what I mean? Governmental systems, intergovernmental systems that are backing, that are protecting. You got, you know, Africans, they even got people. You know what I'm saying? They got a whole country and continents and countries behind them. You know what I mean? If something were to go down, they may have, leadership may be able to stand up and say something. Honestly, tell you the truth, even their leadership is pretty weak. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't even stand up to a lot of things that go on, for the simple fact that they in bed with a lot of the countries that commit atrocities or commit harm to their people in other countries. Like, you know, there was a time where African people were being put out on the streets during COVID in China. Nobody in leadership in Africa stood up and said a word, because China funds them on a 70% to 80% level. Why are you gonna piss off somebody who paying your bills, who's funding you? You know what I mean? Why piss them off? Like why piss them off? And they're funding your countries. You're not gonna say anything. But there's plenty of other countries, regardless on if they're being funded or not, who will say something, who will stand up. You got, you know, they will stand up and they'll say something in a heartbeat. But for some reason, African countries and African leadership, they choose not to stand up for their own continent and countries within their continent, right? So I'm wondering why that is, you know, because Koreans are funded and they will stand up in a heartbeat. Japanese are funded. They'll stand up in a heartbeat. Vietnamese, they're funded. And you see what the Viet Cong has done to America during that war. You know, they literally was slaughtering everybody. Literally. They will stand up and say something. But for some reason, African leaders, they tend to just sit back and allow their people to be mistreated. But the lowest people on the totem pole, the black people, so-called the black people who ancestors may have been a part of the international slave trade, or maybe have been reclassified as slaves in the U.S. and they were Native Americans, they have the lowest backing. They don't have any at all. In fact, they were more likely to kill and murder each other. They'd be more than likely to sell out each other than they are to band together and be sure that they go up against a threat, right? We have no peoples. So if you ever go and fill out paperwork and you check that black, right? They asked you if you black or are you African American, and you were to check that box, then just know that you have no backing, you have no grounds to stand on, and you automatically are counted out. They're not going to count you and treat you the same. I promise you they're not. They're not going to respect you. They're not going to honor you. You check that black, you check that African American box, and you through. Applications, no matter what it is, you definitely going to get it if you check that box. And you know, you say black, African American, you check that box, they're going to definitely give you pushback on all loans, anything, you know, all that shit. What I check is other, or I check Native American, right? All right, Native American, other, Hawaiian. You feel me? I check anything else other than me telling them that I'm black, African American. What is black anyway? It's just a color. African American is an oxymoron. You have no peoples. If you check that box, you have no peoples, you have no backing, there's no support, and they know they can treat you any kind of way. So yeah, check the box if you want to. It's fine. Don't listen to me. Or check it out. Do your own due diligence. We're gonna go over some things right now that you ain't gonna have no other choice but to be a believer. As to what I'm saying about that.